This is the Washington Times front page for Tuesday, July 21st, 2026. Thanks for joining us. I'm George Gerbo. Houthi rebels in Yemen have announced a new maritime blockade targeting Saudi Arabia, potentially opening a new front in the Iran war. Then Wolfgang von Kockane and Tom Howell report Houthi-affiliated media confirmed the blockade would take effect immediately, saying it was in response to what the group called Saudi Arabia's illegal blockade on Yemenis for over 10 years. The Houthis, who are backed by Iran, control much of southwestern Yemen and maintain effective command over the southern end of the Red Sea that connects to the Gulf of Aden. Even short of actual attacks, the mere threat to oil tankers could be enough to deter shipping companies and insurers from authorizing transits. The move comes as questions rise over the whereabouts of Iranian Supreme Leader Mojtaba Khamenei. Some analysts say Khamenei may be in Russia, an Iranian ally with a track record of offering asylum to hardline heads of state. Other sources say that's unlikely and that he's probably still in Iran. The increasingly loud rumors of his departure, those sources argue, could be part of an Israeli intelligence operation to sow confusion in Iran. Khamenei assumed office on March 8th after the death of his father, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who was killed in a joint U.S.-Israeli airstrike. Congressional Republicans are seeking legislative alternatives that could restrict birthright citizenship in certain cases. Some of the bills seek to maneuver at the edges of the Supreme Court's ruling last month guaranteeing the right, Stephen Dinan reports. They include restricting women who enter the U.S. on legal visas to engage in birth tourism, or stripping automatic citizenship from children born to non-citizens in U.S. territories, such as Puerto Rico. Other legislation will attempt to establish Congress's right to define citizenship. President Trump has endorsed South Carolina Republican Senator Darlene Graham for a full term to succeed her late brother Lindsey in the Senate. Susan Ferricchio reports Graham was appointed last week by South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster to serve as a temporary replacement, but announced Monday she'd run for a full term in this year's election. Graham announced her intention to run 3 days after the president publicly called on her to replace her brother for a full term. She'll have to prevail against more experienced and well-known conservative lawmakers who have either announced their candidacy or are considering one. The filing period opens Tuesday and ends July 28th. And finally, political strategists on both sides of the issue say Congress has little chance of renewing a Trump administration freeze on federal funding to Planned Parenthood that expired July 4th. Sean Salai reports analysts say the White House views the policy as a losing issue for Republicans in the midterm elections. Democratic strategist Emily Suttle-Braun ruled out Republicans extending the freeze even after the midterms. She pointed to Senate procedural hurdles and the Trump administration's decision to let the policy lapse quietly rather than own a renewal fight in an election year. Find all today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or on the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us on social media at Wash Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.